want to do a quick little recap and reinforcement of the program and its program goals. So what we're showing on screen is our program logic model, just to kind of reinforce again why we're here, the various steps that are going to take place that you're actively engaged in, and the associated outcomes that the foundation will be looking for. So initially, we understand that you as a fellow are in the process of modifying your course, and maybe you're in the middle of teaching that this term. Maybe that's something you'll be delivering, after the first of the year in the spring term or the winter quarter. So we know there's development process taking place right now. Ultimately, by way of course numbers, we'll be looking for broadly across the program, number of courses that are being offered or that have been modified, the number of different departments in which courses are modified, and the enrollment in those courses. So, over our prior programs, we've assessed that nearly 200 courses have been initiated or modified, and over 2,000 students have been affected through those. So broadly, we're looking at those types of numbers. And very specifically, we'll be trying to do a little bit deeper dive this year onto the types of changes that are being made in courses. So as you develop the content for your course and ascribe certain learning objectives, we'll be taking a close look at the syllabi that you post at colemanfellows.com to try to better understand how you are articulating those learning objectives and how those are being manifest in your course. And then, of course, as you're delivering your course, as students are taking the courses, we're really interested in understanding the degree to which students are changed and the learning objectives that you have set are being achieved. So the concept of pre and post tests is something that we're strongly promoting this year, that those be done in your courses, that we have a way to really, in a very specific way, if not a perfect way, ascertain the degree to which we're having success in delivering learning objectives. And ultimately, the end of the day is we're looking for students to take action, to take either those first steps if that's what is appropriate for them, or to go beyond that to launch a business. And the way in which we'll be looking to learn that is really through the stories that you can tell us, the anecdotes that you can share at the website that help us understand the impact you've had beyond the classroom, and the way in which students are thinking about getting involved in extracurricular activities, or starting businesses, or engaging in other types of means to advance their self-employment potential. So again, recapping that, just to kind of reconfirm, and make sure we have clear, better understanding of what the program is all about. As Joe mentioned, we had a very exciting experience at the CEO conference a couple of weeks ago. We had about 70 fellows and project directors together for a half-day workshop. And this is just a quick recap. Many of you, on the call today were there, but for those of you who were not there, we spent about half a day together as a group doing a little bit of a program overview, talking about the website. We really feel it's very important that we get out to the website and participate and build the community and share with our colleagues, ask questions of one another, and ColemanFellows.com is the venue for that. At CEO, we had some technical glitches, so we weren't perhaps able to communicate that as effectively as we had hoped, given some of our technical challenges. But we really reinforce that as an opportunity for you to go out to the website, participate in the forum, post questions there, and then go and visit and take a look at the questions that others have posted. So I know that Nick Felice at Juniata posted something about an event that took place last night on campus. And so there's information about things that people are doing, and I think it'd be interesting to find out, okay, how did that event go at Juniata, and what was some of the student experience and the outcomes. And also for you to share your events that are taking place and share your questions. So please do that. It's important for us as we build this community of practice. And then Vicki Bagwell from Western Kentucky University explained the experience that several fellows had at the experiential classroom program at Oklahoma State University, which is a very intensive workshop over several days to help aspiring and even mature entrepreneurship educators improve their craft, improve their ability to deliver self-employment education effectively. And so hopefully that gave you a little bit of a taste, if you were at CEO, as to some of the things that are discussed, in an intensive workshop like that. If there's other interest in participating in Experiential Classroom as a professional development opportunity, that's something the Foundation will consider doing again next fall when the workshop is offered. The vast majority of time we spent at CEO was in smaller discussion groups. And so we had a breakout arrangement where generally folks were with a group of folks in a similar division or similar department. That was not always the case. There were some kind of cross-functional, cross-departmental groups. But we spent the better part of the afternoon talking about really three topics. Really trying to think about what kind of learning objectives specifically are important for our students to understand and for us to be teaching in the classroom. Ways by which we can assess the degree to which those students are becoming changed, are achieving those learning objectives. How do we test that? What are the methods that could be used? And then what are the pedagogical approaches that should be used to teach entrepreneurship in the classroom in the language of our discipline? So recognizing that the way in which we talk about self-employment may be very different when we're talking with a class of aspiring engineers versus aspiring artists. So very important that we think about that in the language of your discipline, and that's really where you, as the expert in your field, can best articulate that and best translate some of the learning objectives into your class's essence of conversation. So that was the CEO conference. We did a survey afterwards, and wanted to share some of the results from that, and actually get some of your thoughts, particularly from those of you who were at the conference. So one question we asked were the concepts that were presented in the workshop presented clearly, and that was scored a 4 out of 5. 5 being absolutely yes, and a 1 being no. And so we feel that at least there was a reasonably good effort done to communicate concepts that we talked about in the workshop. And then overall, did the session meet your expectations? And this was a 4 out of 5, which frankly we feel has opportunity to improve. And so we're interested in kind of getting feedback about how we can improve the conference. Now we're not going to do that to a great deal today on this call. But I am definitely open to other thoughts that you have as we are kind of working through session designs for the SEA conference, which we'll talk about at the end of the call if you're attending that, and also for CEO conferences. I also just want to share this with you that we have listened to your evaluations, and we feel that while it was a good positive experience, that we certainly have some opportunity to improve it and want to do that going forward. A couple other things I want to share. One question we asked you how important are face-to-face meetings between fellows and directors, and this got a very strong response, and it was good to see because it's really a core belief that we have that it's critical that you gather together like you're doing today and develop relationships on campus, and also critical that you gather as frequently as we are able to accommodate with people in your field. So that's an area we want to explore, and kind of maybe that's a forum topic or something we'd be interested in getting feedback on, is other ways in which we can support your ability to come together with people in your field on a face-to-face basis. So, are there means by which you, as a faculty member in your particular department, can come together with other people in your field to talk about self-employment? How can we support your ability to do that? So if you have ideas on that, if you have things that you'd like to share, please go to the forum and post something. And we're monitoring that. We're taking a look at the conversations there and are interested in those ideas. Then finally, and this kind of gets us right to our topic today, there's a question: do you have a clear understanding of pedagogy? And this got a little bit lower score, which is completely understandable, and it actually very much brings us to where we are today and the reason for our conversation. There's a full recognition that not only are the concepts of self-employment education not particularly clear to all of us, but certainly the way in which we can communicate those concepts and the way that in self-employment education, they're frequently communicated differently, perhaps, than in some other disciplines, is something that we all need to work on, that we all need to talk about. Hopefully, in your groups with, on campus, led by your project director, these are the types of things that you're talking about. So this is, very germane to the types of things that when you gather together, you can explore as a group and look to your project director for some guidance. But that kind of gets us to what we're going to spend much of today about is relating to pedagogy. Okay, so we will kind of move on thinking about that question of pedagogy. How do we improve our ability to understand concepts and deliver them effectively? And the core of what you're probably working on right now is thinking about that, is modifying those syllabi or kind of getting those firmed up, and then thinking about how to deliver the concepts that are new to you or new to your class. And so we're going to take a little bit of time today to recap some of the things up in the CEO conference when we got together in small groups to talk about learning objectives. We had a long list, and if those of you recall from the debrief session at the end of the CEO conference workshop, we had a discussion of the pretty broad list of learning objectives that might be opportunity areas for those of us in the Fellows Program. And now what we're going to do is kind of talk about moving from this point where we're converging on specifics to delivering those specifics in our broad areas. So this is our funnel that kind of indicates over the time period that we're in the Fellows Program here this year that we're moving from being in a lot of different departments, thinking about a lot of different things, to converging on a short list of learning objectives, really making sure we're focused around particular concepts and topics. And then as we move out into our various classes in different departments, potentially using different pedagogical approaches or placing those concepts in courses that are as varied as we all are, but still maintaining our ability to develop into a community of practice. So this list is the kind of the top list. We tried to take all of the things on all the flip charts, and each of the breakout teams had a flip chart, that talked about learning objectives and assessment vehicles and pedagogical approaches. We pulled out all those learning objectives and tried to kind of categorize them. And it looked like the vast majority fell into these buckets. And most prominent, it appeared, was opportunity recognition. So we'll talk a little bit more today. In fact, Harold Welsh will lead a discussion on this particular topic. And so opportunity recognition was one thing that really seemed that a lot of people wanted to talk about and learn how to teach. A lot of individuals, teams were talking about risk as well. And a lot of different concepts about risk, whether it be, how you might view risk, how do we view the concept of taking action and kind of conceiving of failure, or how do you either mitigate or just embrace the need to take that jump and recognize that failure is part of the learning experience. There were a lot of discussions of really kind of general business management topics. The things that really are offered, pretty regularly in a business department, whether it be, finance or accounting or sales, things of that nature, that all of which are relevant in a self-employment environment. There was discussion about this fuzzy concept of the entrepreneurial mindset, which has a lot of different understandings and definitions. We kind of think about at the Coleman Foundation about risk, control, and reward. And a little bit of that is kind of wrapped into the entrepreneurial mindset, and also kind of the passion, the fire in the belly, and the taking action and doing things as a means of self-expression, self-actualization. Additionally, there was discussion of other concepts, business planning, how to access resources as an entrepreneur, and then some good interest in how very pointedly self-employment opportunities can be articulated and characterized in specific disciplines. So in the places where you're working with the students that you're educating, how can you talk about self-employment in a very realistic way, using live examples and efforts to really articulate it so that it's relevant to those individuals.